All right, so we're officially live on both platforms, YouTube and Facebook. So you might see my eyes going back and forth. But this is the first time I'm doing something on both Holistic Health Mentoring YouTube channel. If y'all are not subscribed yet, go ahead and do so. Also, if you're watching it from YouTube, I am also broadcasting this live on my Facebook group. You can find this Facebook group in the About section of our channel. The title of our group is The Holistic Detox for Fat Loss. So, all right, so today's topic on Q&A, I got a lot of Q&As. We've just broke 100 members in our Facebook group. We've been essentially alive for a couple weeks. We've recently started ramping up the activity level in our group literally last month, and we broke over 100 members, and we're only going to be going up. So super excited to see the progress. And before I get into the Q&A, I wanted to just touch up briefly on my observation about health. And this one in regards to yin yang. Many of you all have heard of the term yin and yang. For me, I took on a new level of understanding of yin yang when people were talking about, it's beneficial for longevity to be near the warmer climate, to be near the sun, and taking in the sunshine every day, eating the tropical foods, staying warm. And to an extent, I agree with that. I also want to add the power of yin yang in longevity, because in Eastern medicine, it was known that people living on a higher elevation in mountainous regions, they tend to live longer. And that is because, excuse me, I just have something going into my eyes. All right, so going back to yin yang and living in higher elevation, living in high altitude. I know there are studies that show, if you're living in between 500 to 1,000 meters in elevation, you most likely will live longer than people living in the coastal regions, for example, by the beach. And that's because, in terms of yin yang, what does higher elevation represent? It represents a higher ground, right? The ground is higher than the sea. So there is a greater force of yin. Yin represents in Eastern medicine the earth, right? So because the earth is elevated at a higher level, there is more yin higher up. And yin's energetic is containing. It tends to hold, it tends to restrict and confine things. So how does that relate to yang energy? Well, yang energy tends to disperse. And yang energy is the vital force that you get from the sun, for example. Yang energy is active, it's dispersing, it's lively, it's the force that powers your entire cells, right? So I'm not saying yang is better than the yin or vice versa. It's just that two of them need to be in balance, and they got to go together harmoniously. So going back to the yin at a higher level, or yin existing at a higher elevation, that allows the yin to trap more yang energy at that level. So people living there, they can better be exposed to yang energy without much of it escaping, right? In Eastern medicine, they talk about if you're living near the beach or living near the sea level, the yang energy just continually rises up, right? Yang, you can think of yang energy as heat. So the heat always rises up. And yin, relatively speaking, is a cooling energy, so it condenses things. So at a higher elevation, you got the yin, the cooling energy, trapping that yang energy at the higher elevation. And that's what most people living in that elevation, they get more accessibility to the yang energy without too much of it escaping. And so that's one way to look up, to consider how elevation can play a role in the quality of life. So I just wanted to throw that out there. And now jumping into the actual meat of the Q&A, which is fat loss. And I also want to say I appreciate all of you tuning in and soaking in this knowledge. My background is in Eastern medicine, and when it comes to fat loss, right, it's really all encompassing. Eastern medicine also deals certain aspects of fat loss, but I mean, fat loss really is essential, meaning it's really basic in terms of what you need to be doing. It's more so what you need to get rid of. I always say this. I've been saying this in my reels, that it's more about what you remove from your routine, from your habits, compared to what you add into your routine. When it comes to fat loss, it's easily cutting out processed foods, GMOs, sugars. That's half the battle already resolved. If you can really focus your nutritional intake and monitor that, you're halfway there. So I know I got a question about meal replacements, if they work. And my answer to that is it will not work long term. You cannot just expect to drink 3 meal. Well, what's the brand? It's the Ensure or Boost. You cannot just drink 2-3 of them a day without any solid foods and expecting you to maintain that weight. I mean, you will lose some weight for sure because you're not getting in as much calories, but eventually your body will get used to it. Your body will realize that, okay, like, I'm not getting enough calories, so I gotta save up these calories because the cells are essentially starving. So your cells will hold on to the calories, the fats, it will store them. So you probably will see a plateau. You'll see the weight loss kind of slowing down after a certain point. In that case, you gotta introduce new things. You gotta keep your body guessing. That's another thing that's crucial to fat loss. It's not just one diet, one eating plan that's gonna necessarily be successful. You gotta have multiple meals, multiple eating patterns in your arsenal to be able to deploy them in order to just, keep your body on its toes, metaphorically speaking. So if you need recommendations for meal replacements, I'll be happy to assist you with that. Essentially, you want some, solid quality protein in that meal replacement, as well as necessary vitamins and minerals so that you're not deficient. Now, I got another question. I got to run in a bit, so I'll answer one more question. And, this is about perimenopause and how to take care of your weight during perimenopause. And the key is hormone balance. I said this in my previous Q&A, but menopause is essentially a change in your hormones. Your hormones are about to shift into a completely new state, and with that comes different bodily changes. And so you got to be monitoring your changes to your hormone and be able to adapt harmoniously to the change. And so obviously starting with what you eat and understanding that hormonal imbalance may cause you to crave certain foods. That also ties into your gut health. If your gut is not in order, it's also going to make you crave foods like sugars, chocolates, chips, salty things. So it's a multifaceted approach when it comes to dealing with your hormonal changes. Hormones can be balanced with proper foods, taking care of your gut health, managing your stress. So I'll be happy to dive deeper into individual situations regarding this matter. I offer one-on-one health consultation for all of you members in this group. My plan is to help as many of you all as possible so that I can make this world a tiny bit better place. That's really my mission here. So if you would like to get my free consultation, shoot me a DM or comment below consultation, and I'll send you more information through the Facebook message. So that's it for this week. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and have an amazing weekend. I'll catch you all next week. Ciao.